I don't understand where I am. Am I in the hotel or am I somewhere else? And your mother said, Stacy, it doesn't matter. You have connected with me. I'm fine. You need to go back and get out of your robe and get ready for the wedding. I can't believe how clear everything was. And it was so interesting because Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Robbins, and welcome to Life, Death, and the Space Between. Today is a ghost story day. For those of you who are new to the show, ghost stories are your way, my listeners' way, you, of sharing your stories of signs, synchronicities, visits, connections with your loved ones after they've died. So if you have a ghost story to share, I am running low on ghost stories, so I'm looking for them now. Take the time, just write it up, or you could even record it for me and we'll get it transcribed for you if you'd prefer to do it that way. Share your ghost story, share your experiences of your loved ones crossing over and communicating with you once they have. With that, I have today's ghost story. And this ghost story requires a little bit of context because the ghost story was written for one of my listeners from one of her friends. So my listener was preparing to attend her son's wedding when her friend experienced this, what she calls as a dream. But if you've been listening to the podcast long enough, you know I call it a visit. It is how my loved ones often come to me as well, which is why it is so clear that it is not a dream. So with that, I will bring you today's ghost story, and I'll sprinkle in a little context here and there as well, just to make sure that it's clear, because again, it's written for my listener from her friend. I would say I just had one of the most clear, vivid dreams I've ever had in my life. This morning, I had this experience and your mother was in it. It's kind of complicated, but you know when you have a dream and you remember every single detail? That's what happened here. Here is this dream. So my husband and I were going to a warm island in the Caribbean, not Miami. And when we got off the plane, instead of getting a shuttle to our hotel, we decided to get some lunch, which we did. But we thought 2 sandwiches for $52 was really expensive. And we told them to call the shuttle from our hotel, but it took us to the wrong hotel. We were told we would have to wait for the shuttle from our hotel. So we walked in and the hotel looked exactly like the hotel where your son's wedding was. I know because I've been there before. We used to eat outside in this fancy restaurant, and when you walk into the lobby, there's this beautiful beige marble. It looked exactly as I had remembered it. So we walked into the lobby and chose 2 chairs to sit down in. Across from us was a chaise lounge, and on it was your mother. We recognized her immediately, and she recognized us. She especially remembered my husband. She asked us what we were doing there, and we said, "It's only a temporary stopover. We won't be staying long." She said, "Oh, this is where I'm staying for now. I'm resting. That's why I'm on this chaise lounge." She said, "I'm actually waiting for my husband to come back with a glass of water for me. My mouth's a little dry. I just wanted to stay on my lounge and rest as I'm recovering from everything I went through." There was some conversation about nothing of importance in the back of the lobby. To the left, there were 2 big double doors with frosted glass. It was beautiful. All of a sudden, she's speaking to the mother of the groom, walked through the 2 double doors, and you had on a beautiful silk robe and some slippers. But your hair was done, and you were all made up with your jewelry on, ready for the wedding. You first looked at us and said, "What are you doing here?" And we said, "Oh, this is only a temporary stopover. We're waiting to leave." Then you walked over and saw your mother on the chaise lounge and said, "Oh my God, oh my God." She said, "Stacy, I'm fine. Everything is well. Go back and finish getting dressed and getting ready for the wedding." Then you said in a rather shocked voice, "I don't understand where I am. Am I in the hotel or am I somewhere else?" And your mother said, "Stacy, it doesn't matter. You have connected with me. I'm fine. You need to go back and get out of your robe and get ready for the wedding." You kissed her on the head and said, "I love you very much," and she said it back to you. You turned around and went through the double doors where I could see there were a lot of people and your family waiting. Then our van showed up to take us to the hotel, and we went and said goodbye to your mother, and she said, "You were never meant to stay here." That's basically the gist of the dream. I can't believe how clear everything was. And it was so interesting because I woke up to go to the bathroom that morning, and this happened just as I started falling back into that sleep. So it's so easy and clear to remember. So I just wanted to remind everybody that these are examples of how our loved ones can show up. They might not visit us directly, but they might take the time to visit someone else in our lives that they know that's an easier access point to get through to us. So when you do have these experiences, pay attention. The messages might not be for you, but they might be for someone else that you love in your life. The other thing that I wanted to point out about this ghost story is when Stacy's mom said, "I'm here resting." I've heard this many times before that as souls cross over, they do take some time for their soul to heal and to rest. So it's just interesting to hear how these stories that we keep hearing over and over again do in some way prove out to be the experiences of people who have had visits from loved ones. They've shared information like this. People who've had life reviews share information like this. So it's just interesting as while they say there's no kind of research behind this, there's so many qualitative experiences that share similar stories. And this is just one of those. So if you have a ghost story to share, make sure you go to my website, click on podcasts, and share your ghost story. Like what you heard today and want to hear more? Wondering what comes next and what it all means? Head over to Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you get your podcasts and hit subscribe. Also, if you could take a minute to rate and review my podcast, I would really appreciate it. Stay tuned as we continue to explore life, death, and the space between.